Welcome back to Hometown TCG, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John.
And I'm Josh.
And today we are introducing a brand new series that you have been asking for in the comment section. You've been asking how to defeat certain heroes, how to play certain matchups, beat these pesky people that have been dominating your local meta. So that's what we're doing. We're introducing that series today, and we're starting with Dorinthea.
But before we get into Dorinthea, guys, we have heard you, and we've got big news. Our live stream to celebrate the channel growth, to celebrate hanging out with all you guys, is Tuesday, June 22nd at 7 p.m. Central Time. Guys, we're going to be hanging out, answering any questions you have, talking about decks, talking deck techs, and we're going to give away some Monarch Unlimited boxes. So we can't wait to see you guys there, but for right now, we're talking Dorinthea.
All right, so when we first look at playing against a hero, we need to know how they play, what their strategy is. So Dorinthea is an aggro deck. She's extremely aggressive, and she can put out damage like no one else. So you have to be the defender in the matchup. That's the first mentality you have to have going into it. What would you say that some of her strategy is, though?
Exactly. So I would definitely say her strategy is to be the aggressor. And like we talked about in our Dorinthea budget build, Dorinthea needs two things to be successful. She has to push damage over the top, right? Her Dawnblade has to hit you. And the first thing she needs, actually, and I think is the most important, is she needs some source of go again to attack with that Dawnblade twice, to stack those counters and push that snowball over the edge. So that's kind of where I start with, when I think Dorinthea, I think she needs those two things to get going.
That's right. She has to have them because her big thing is if she hits with her Dawnblade twice, she gets a Dawnblade counter.
Exactly.
And once she gets one, it's easy to get two. And once it gets two, it's almost impossible to stop her from getting 3 and 4 and 5.
Well, she'll never get 4 and 5 because you'll be dead.
Yes.
So the way she does this, guys, is she uses that natural go again with things like Warrior's Valor, Spoils of War. Her boots are available, possibly hit and run, and then she does have to push over the top. So after having that natural go again, she's still got to hit. So it's a balance of that and the attack reactions that I'm sure you've seen her play to push over your defense. Things like, fill me in here.
Iron Song Response.
Razor
Reflex.
Yeah.
Stroke of Foresight.
Out for blood. Very good, yes. So those are going to take her over the top and help her go tall. She's got go again. She hits. She gets to attack a second time, pressure that counter, right?
So when you're playing against her, you know that she's going to come in with additional attack reactions. So the thing you got to ask yourself is, how am I going to defend this?
Exactly.
And we see that she has two general
yes.
attack things that she's going for. There's the Dawnblade that has the go again on it.
The natural go again Dawnblade with go again staring you in your face.
And then there's the naked Dawnblade that's it's coming in for 3.
It's coming in for 3, and that always feels wrong. When your Dorinthea opponent says Dawnblade for 3, you go, are you sure? So you got two different lines. How do you defend the Dawnblade with a natural source of go again on the board most effectively?
Okay, so if it has go again, I have to block the first attack so that way she can't use it a second time by activating her power. So at that point, I look at the number of cards in her hand and the pitch that she has, and I try to predict how high she can get her attack. Now, part of this is experience and looking at their discard pile, but one easy way is just, for every card in their hand, she can add +3 damage.
Yeah, assume she's going to be able to get +3 damage to go over the top, especially if you defend and trigger effects like Reprise. You want to be ready for that +3. So if you're going to do that, it feels like you're almost blocking out or over blocking against a go again Dawnblade.
Yes, so I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, I'm going to block 9. I'm going to block 12.
Okay.
I might add some armor in there.
Exactly. So that's the first scenario, but then there's this other weird scenario, and you see it, you might not see it early in the game, but as she starts to utilize resources and maybe doesn't have the perfect hand, you see the weird naked Dawnblade play, right? And now you have a choice to make with that line of play, and I believe your choices are evaluate your offensive turn. If she doesn't have natural go again, you have to be wary of boots, and you have to be wary of things like Glint the Quicksilver to trigger go again. But it's almost an open opportunity for you to do the math and say, can I output more damage and more pressure than she can this turn? She's not directly threatening a counter yet. If I think, looking at her hand, assuming that +3, she's going to get 9 damage, can I put out 16 on my turn? Maybe I take the 9 to trade back.
That's right, because the thing is, without go again, Dorinthea just doesn't do that much damage. especially if you don't block, because when you block, you trigger Reprise, and Reprise just makes her bonuses that much higher. You know, her the Overpower goes from 4 to 6. The Glint, the Quicksilver goes from Go Again to Go Again, draw a card. Like, she gets tutor effects. It's just insane.
Yes, Singing Steelblade lets her tutor a card, exactly.
So you don't, if she does not add Go Again to her Dawnblade, as long as you have something on your turn to do that's worthwhile, don't block.
Don't block. And that kind of can be a pitfall and gets us talking about the next part of this video, and that's the common pitfalls we see people fall into, or the traps that we see people fall into when playing against Dorinthea, or when we're playing them as Dorinthea, right?
Exactly. The first one would be blocking for 3.
If you're going to block for 3, you might as well not block. Blocking for 3 feels more beneficial to the Dorinthea player. You're triggering Reprise. You might be letting them get something. You might be letting them tutor something up. They're going to have Go Again. They're stealing resources from you. If you're going to block for 3 on a Go Again Dawnblade, don't block. On any Dawnblade, don't block for 3.
Don't block for 3. It's just not worth it unless they have like 1 card in their hand.
They have no cards in their hand, and you're at 3 life. They'll be like Hometown TCG told us.
Yeah, right?
What's another big pitfall?
Okay, so taking damage without a plan. So this goes into the I'm not going to block you and trigger Reprise because I got my hand. But then you look at your hand and you're like,
I can only do 4 damage.
Or even I can only do 9 damage with 4 cards. 9 damage with 4 cards, it really is not a lot.
That's not great DPC.
No, it's not DP. It's not good DPC.
No. So taking damage without a plan to kick back and turn that pressure, bad idea. As well as anytime you try to race Dorinthea, it feels like a bad plan. She's going to get that snowball rolling. She's going to stack those counters. There's going to be a point where you just can't match up, right?
Right. If you don't block her for 1 turn, it's okay, but if she starts getting counters, it just adds up, and now it's like, ooh, me not blocking her, very bad.
Exactly, and it's like a tax, guys. Those counters add up, so if you choose not to block her now, you're going to have to pay the tax, and you're going to have to block her later. And the last pitfall that I see people fall into, especially when playing against me, when I'm playing Dorinthea, is forgetting about my armor. Guys, Dorinthea is hiding behind a shield of usually 6 to 7 armor. Yeah. That means she can soak 1 Command and Conquer for free.
Yeah, that's just incredible. So if your plan is that you're trying to hit a Command and Conquer on her, and that's like your plan to win, or if you're trying to hit a Crippling Crush, that's a big one.
Crippling Crush is another big one.
You can't go for Crippling Crush when she has her armor still. You can't go for your giant Lord of the Wind turn while she has her armor. You have to kind of push through that a little bit with maybe some other hit effects that aren't your big strategy.
Exactly. So that kind of takes us into wanting to talk about the ways we have had success playing against Dorinthea. And you mentioned a big one right there, hit effects, right?
Yes. Hit effects are what makes her have to block. If it's just straight damage, she's going to out-damage you. Yes. It has to be something like a Command and Conquer that gets rid of one of her cards. She's like, well, I have to block because I need that card.
Exactly. A Crippling Crush where she would discard, threatening some kind of pummel, anything like that.
Yeah. Threats like that are going to make a huge difference against her.
And that feeds into Dorinthea does not want to block. She wants to play with a full hand to have that resource and be able to go tall and go again. So hit effects are a great way to pressure her, as well as kind of the blocking strategy we talked about. When she throws out that Naked Dawnblade with no Go Again, and you say no block, you're forcing a piece of equipment use, you're forcing one of the 2 Glint, the Quicksilvers out of the deck. You're in a good spot. You're getting some pressure there by making her use resources that she wants to save to close out that game.
Exactly, and I think another point to that is if you have a defense reaction, you need to get that in your arsenal ASAP.
ASAP.
Especially like an unmovable or something big.
Yes.
Because when she comes at you and attacks and you say no defense, she may play her attack reactions even though they're not as effective, and then you go, okay, I'll play my defense reaction.
Exactly.
And she just, because she doesn't have the Reprise effect, she can't get over the top of that.
Exactly. So anytime you can take the decision making off of your plate and put it on her plate. Does she want to use these resources now? Is she satisfied with just 3 damage? Putting that decision on her, it puts you in a good position of power. So those blocking strategies that we mentioned, the Naked Dawnblade no block, the natural Go Again, possibly overblock, those are good places that we've seen success.
I got one more.
Oh, you got one more.
If she plays Steelblade Supremacy, you throw your entire hand on the table.
Yes. Steel Blade Supremacy turns, guys, can be brutal. Steel Blade, you do not want to let her hit, draw a card, and keep smacking you. Overblock, get that resource, call it a wash, move on to the next turn. Is there any thoughts you have about closing this video? Any last tips you have when it comes to beating Dorinthea? Things that come off your mind?
I'll just say that if there are a lot of Dorintheas you're expecting at your event, just try to slot in maybe some extra defense reactions. So that's what we've seen. Even if you're a deck that plays a lot of blues, we've seen a lot of blue unmovables come into the meta. So things like that can be extremely important. If you're playing Classic Constructed, you should have a bunch in your side deck anyway.
Yes, if you're playing Classic Constructed, you can build your side deck to kind of accommodate that. Another popular one that we've seen, at least with the Light Heroes, is Soul Shield. That's a fantastic play against Dorinthea. If you haven't slotted that into your Light Hero deck and you're playing a lot of Dorintheas, consider it. I think my final tip would definitely be you want to put the decision... You want to make the decisions for the Dorinthea player difficult. You don't want an easy line where the Dorinthea player can say, hey, you blocked for 4. I can easily, with 1 card, get to 5 with Go Again. That's a very easy decision for the Dorinthea player. It takes a lot of pressure off them, so they can just kind of just lean against that snowball and let it going. What I like to do is really make them decide. And I say, hey, you might be able to get to 10 here, but you have to use all of your resources, and you won't be able to attack again because you don't have a resource to attack with Dawnblade. So I'll say, hey, it's your decision. How much is 1 damage important to you? And then you see, make them make that decision, put them in a position where they can make a mistake.
Exactly.
So, guys, this has been fun. I'm really excited for this series, and I hope you guys are too.
Yeah, be sure to let us know in the comments how you do with Dorinthea. If you're seeing more success after watching this or what, we would love to hear from you.
We always love to hear from you.
Yeah.
So until the next one, my name is Josh.
And I'm John.
And we'll see you around.